Hey guys, let's talk about person of interest. I believe I missed a review for last week, which I apologize for. But I was still just trying to get back from the holiday season and trying to get my mind wrapped around having to watch all these shows, which are coming back fast and furious. And I will say that the last week's episode of Person of Interest was really good, and I enjoyed it a lot. I can't review all of what happened last week, but I will kind of jump into this week's and again say that this was another good episode of Person of Interest. I like that Reese is starting to get back into the fold, and I realize just how much he cared about Carter because this seems to have really affected him rather deeply, and he's taken out a lot of his anger on the computer itself, and kind of like, why are they doing this if it's not going to give them correct numbers all the time, and just sort of seeing Finch have to kind of really talk him back into doing what they've been doing all these years, which is saving lives. And to see him be put on this plane by the computer and have him have to sort of work his way through all these people that were trying to kill this guy, this super genius computer guy, was interesting to see. And I mean, we all knew at the end of the day that he was going to succeed because, hello, Reese is the star of the show and he's not going anywhere. But I actually thought that the female stewardess was going to be the one who was actually the bad guy at the end. So when it was just the other guy who we really barely saw in the episode, I was kind of less shocked by that. I think I would have been more like, ooh, cool, it was the girl, because she'd acted like she was like this sweet, innocent stewardess, and then boom, turned out to be like this ruthless killer. I would have kind of liked that better. But all in all, it was still a fun episode to watch. And I really liked that scene with Shaw and going to confront the guy who tried to kill her back when she was working for that other crazy group. And she drugged him, and he was all like, Shaw, like, are the people that you're working with now treating you well? Like, I thought that was actually kind of funny, and just how loopy he was. Maybe there's a part of him that actually wants to leave the people that he's working with and go work with her. So I thought that was kind of funny. But it'll be interesting again to see where this show goes. I mean, sometimes this show can get very complicated, and sometimes that's where I am with this show. Like, when the basic premise is, the computer sends them out on a mission, and they're trying to track down these people, and then you're trying to figure out who the victim is, who the perpetrator is, and blah, 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 blah. Those things can get really easy. But when it starts getting so complicated, like, last week's episode with Root and the computer, I mean, that torture scene was really cool with Root and that crazy woman who once worked with Shaw, or was, like, I guess the boss of Shaw, and when she was drugging her, and then when she finally got did she get a knife and all that craziness, and like the computer was like giving her Morse code and all this crazy. I'm just like, sometimes like this show just is like, and you're just kind of like, what is happening? So I mean, I'm always really interested in the show. Sometimes it can get very complicated, and that's when I'm like, what is happening right now? But all that stuff that happened last week was really cool, and we didn't see Root in this episode. She's probably trying to recover from all the drug-induced torture she went through in last week's episode. But again, this show is sort of really outside the box, and that's the kind of shows that I enjoy watching. I'm not a really big fan of, just the case every week, and they solve their crime by the end of the episode. I like shows that continue every week, and you have to pay attention to the episode the week before so that you know where things are going. I'm a big fan of that kind of television. So that is, Person of Interest is like in their third season right now, and I'm really glad that I stuck with the show because it is very complicated. It is very complex, and the stories that they're telling are very interesting at times. And I think they've done a good job of giving at least Finch and Reese, and now they are starting to give us some more into the background of Shaw, but just giving us some really good character developments, which is how Finch became this like genius that he is right now, and you saw that all stemming back when he was a young boy. So anyways, that's me just going off on a little rant there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this week's episode, and I can't wait to see what happens next week. All right, guys, let me know what you thought of Person of Interest, and we'll see you next week.